This road bike costs £400 and this road bike costs £10,000. But does more expensive mean a better bike? Is it faster against the clock? Does it offer a better ride quality and ride experience? Well, in this video, we're going to find out once and for all, because I'm David and you're watching Just Ride Bikes. I'm willing to bet that most of you probably think you know the answer to this comparison test. The expensive bike, naturally. But I wouldn't be so sure. This is definitely a plucky underdog. So I am personally rooting for this bike. I think it might surprise us all. So the plan is simple. Ride both bikes on the same route and see which is faster. And then afterwards talk about that more subjective ride quality. I've been riding both these bikes for the last few weeks, so I have a few miles under my belt already. Now the route in question is 11 kilometers long and features a wide variety of road surfaces and types. A nice fast descent, my favourite climb here in the Cotswolds, the W, that kind of mini Alpe d'Huez, and some rolling, undulating roads in between. So quite a punchy short circuit. So this is a brand new Enve Melee and certainly a good example of an expensive road bike. I've been eager to ride this bike since I showed you it last year and I finally got my hands on it to test, so full review coming on this bike very soon. So we have a full carbon frame and a fork, lightweight, aero optimized of course, full integration with the cables inside the stem and the handlebar, also an aero carbon handlebar and an aero carbon seat post. We have hydraulic brakes and electronic gears, Shimano's newest 12-speed Ultegra setup. And we also have Enve 45 foundation wheels as well, with the company's own tyres and a 27mm width. And it has got some really nice modern details, my favourite of which is space for up to a 35mm wide tyre and mudguard or fender mount. Now some people might think, what the heck is an aero race bike like this doing with mudguard mounts? Well, I think it's a really interesting and potentially smart decision. It gives us a bike that's usable year round. You don't have to put it away in the winter when it starts raining, as it does here and other parts of the world. So you could ride it through the winter with some fat endurance tyres and some mudguards and be quite happy. You can ride your summer bike year round. Lots of you will hopefully recognise this lovely looking bike. A second-hand Cannondale CAAD12 I bought for the princely sum of £400, an absolute bargain. It launched back in 2016, so it's a few years old, but not really that old in the grand scheme of things. And when it launched, it cost £1,600, so £400 is an absolute steal. Since I bought it, it's had a full service from Jim, the bike guy, and we spent money on new tyres, some Conti GP 5000s in a 28mm width. So yes, 28 do fit on a bike with generous clearance front and rear. And then new gear and brake cables because mechanical shifting, and some new brake blocks which have definitely improved the braking performance of the bike, and some new bar tape as well. So not a load of changes, I know, but just the main sort of mechanical parts to make it roadworthy and hopefully help it compete with the Enve. But there are loads more things I could do to it, which I might do in a future video. But for now, I'll try to keep it fairly original, which I think I've done a nice job of. Before I go for a ride, the first part of the test revolves around the weight. Now, more expensive should mean a lighter bike, and generally it does. All this expensive carbon fibre and fancy materials should mean a lighter bike on the scales. But the advancements of things like disc brakes, electronic gears and aero deep section wheels and aero frames means that more expensive doesn't always mean a lighter bike. So this Enve is 7.22 kilograms on my scales, and that CAAD12 over there, 7.44 kilograms. Yeah, I know, I was really surprised too. I thought this bike would be lighter and that CAAD12 a lot heavier and a bigger weight difference between the two bikes. So yeah, really interesting, and should make for an interesting comparison out on the road, as the weight isn't really a factor at all. The course is long enough to get a really good feel for how the bikes compare, but not so long it would time it out between each run. I rode both bikes at the same effort level around the course and focused on maintaining the same speed at key sectors. And even without looking at the numbers, the Enve felt faster and easier to maintain higher speeds. And on the main climb, I aimed for 300 watts on each bike. Easier said than done, which on a CAAD12 meant using the lowest gears straight away, whereas on the Enve I had a few more in reserve. So that is the riding done. Now let's look at the time and see which bike was actually quicker and see whether you're right or wrong. And we'll start with the Enve. I did a time of 21 minutes and 58 seconds and an average power of 208 watts on the bike. So pretty quick. On the CAAD12, it did a time of 22 minutes and 47 seconds. So yes, the cheap bike was slower than the expensive bike. Surprise, surprise. And the average power on the bike was also higher at 231 watts. I should add, of course, that here in the real world, there are many variables. I know a strong rider on the cheap bike will be faster than me on this expensive bike. Maybe that's an idea for a future video. The time against the clock is one thing, but what about ride quality? How do they compare when it comes to how they feel, that more subjective quality? Well, there's no getting away from it. The expensive bike is far nicer to ride than a cheap bike. It's more refined, smoother, better on the rough roads, feels faster, more efficient everywhere, handles like a gem through the corners, climbs really well. And then the electronic gears, while you don't really need them, they are very nice to use. And the hydraulic disc brakes allow much easier one finger braking in all conditions and all situations. So no surprises, the expensive bike is better than a cheap bike, which it should be. It costs 25 times more. Don't get me wrong though, this bike wasn't horrible at all. I am amazed at how well the CAAD12 performs against the really expensive bike. Definitely isn't cheap when it comes to performance, and that's no surprise. One of the best frames ever made, coupled to a great group set, super lightweight crank set. Only the wheels and some of the finishing kits really hold it back, and none of the fancy electronic gears or aerodynamics, but it still rides really well. I mean, it's not as good as the expensive bike, not as smooth, and it definitely feels harder work on the rolling roads, and the gearing is too tall for me. I can't handle a 52, 36, 11, 28 combo anymore. Just not fit enough, not strong enough. And I think it shows how, while the expensive bike is much better, yes, in many ways, it gets the clock, refinement, ride quality, looks as well, I think, shows that any bike from the last 5 or maybe 10 years is still going to give you everything you kind of want when you are going for a road cycling experience, whether it's in a sportive or racing or whatever aspect of road cycling you're getting into. A bike from the last 10 years is going to perform really well, and the improvements of the newer bikes are still there, but they're getting smaller and smaller as they are kind of at the real limits of what is available in terms of improvements, evolution and developments. And as much as I love the latest technology and disc brakes and electronics, kind of nice getting a bike with no battery to worry about or anything else like that, and just get on and ride it. And even though this isn't a typical cheap bike, most cheap bikes will have aluminium wheels like these and low-end components. You still have to spend about £4,000 to get a carbon frame with carbon wheels, as my review of the Super 6 Evo a few months ago showed. The budget Mavic Axiom wheels definitely hold this bike back compared to the lovely deep section wheels we have here from Enve. And I do have something planned in the future for this bike, a fairly substantial upgrade So make sure you stay tuned if you want to see that. So in conclusion, an expensive bike is faster and better and nicer to ride than a cheap bike. But the differences aren't massive, and if price is a factor, then the bike does ride extremely well. This bike is amazing, but it's over £10,000 and I can't afford that. I know lots of people can't afford it. If you want the best, then this bike is clearly the best of the best. Just stunning performance, absolutely flawless so far. But what do you think of this test? Let me know by leaving a comment down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button over there. Your support means so much to me, and growing the channel means I can do more videos like these and other ideas I've got in the pipeline as well. Anyway, I'll see you all again very soon. Thank you so much for watching.